Accrual automation looks at three scenarios. The first is the end of the month and transactions in a pending approval or not submitted status. Scenario two is trend accrual. So let's say we receive a bill in January, February, March, but the April bill is missing. The system would suggest an accrual in that scenario. And then the third scenario is a PO supported accrual. So if you have a service related purchase order, with a start date and end date, if that start date and end date coincides with the month you're closing and the system doesn't detect an expense, it would suggest an accrual in that situation as well. So on our accruals dashboard, the first thing we're going to see is a snapshot of what we expected the month's accruals expenses to look like. And then it's going to let us know what we have already recorded for the month. So as you can see, we expected about 450K and we've only recorded about 11K here. So we're either behind in the process, haven't received bills, or more than likely, there are a bunch of bills that are in a pending approval status and hasn't quite yet hit the GL here. And then below here, on a vendor by vendor basis, we are going to get what's been recorded for the month, what we expected, and then the delta in between those two dollar amounts. But the real meat and potatoes of the accrual functionality lives within the accrual worksheet here. So here in the accrual worksheet, we will get the vendor, the department, account, classification, location. If you guys do use custom segments such as product, project, region, we can add additional columns here as needed. The source is the reason behind the accrual here. And if it's a bill number, that means it's related to a present bill that's in a pending approval or not submitted status here. So let me click on a bill here. And why did the system suggest an accrual here? Because this bill is for the posting period March, in which we are closing, and it's in a not submitted status. And then as you can see, it's going to pull in line level data. So it's going to pull in all three lines of the bill here. 1, 2, 3. The general accrual is that trend accrual I was referring to in scenario number 2. And if we see here, the previous month, it was 10,000. The current month, there was nothing recorded, but it's suggesting an accrual in the amount of $16,000 here. So for the past 3 months, we've recorded 10,000, 25,000, and 15,000 to this line here. So based on that 3-month average, the system is suggesting an accrual in the amount of 16,000 here. Okay, great. And then the last scenario is a purchase order supported accrual. As we can see, this PO total is in the amount of $25,000. And then it also will take into consideration the start date and end date. So March 1st to July 31st here. So what this system will do, it'll take that total dollar amount. It'll look at the number of days in that between the start date and end date, and it'll calculate an expense amount per day for that associated purchase order. So if you hover over the I, that's about $163 per day, 31 days in March, and that's where it comes up with that $5,065 number here. Now, the system will also take into consideration what has already been recorded, which is $4,000, and then give you that delta of $1,065 to be accrued here. So I'm looking at the San Diego subsidiary. Minimum entry amount, I do see some smaller dollar amounts here. So I'm going to say this entry needs to be at least $1,000, right? Maybe I'll put in a max of 503. All right. So now I have all the amounts I want to accrue here. And I would simply just hit create journal. And what the solution will do here, based on those decisions we made on that accruals worksheet, it's going to pull forward the account, the amounts, the source of the accrual suggestion, whether that relates to a bill or a calculation. That calculation will be right in that memo field. So this is also great for account reconciliation as well. It'll pull in the vendor, department class, location, any other classification fields you may have. And then it'll be auto reversing for you here. It'll be automatically named for you here as well. And then when we hit that save button, that worksheet is actually going to attach to the back of the journal entry here. And then it would go through the related approval process you have on your journal entry transaction within your NetSuite environment, offering you an opportunity to not have to export everything and do more of that work right within NetSuite and give you greater transparency on the related transactions here. Feel free to reach out to a chartered representative with any questions or additional information.